Charlie, come on, wake up.
Find out why, week after week, more people are watching 13 ABC Action News at 6 than any other station.
No, eat there. Excuse me? Right up until the second the next one to his heart. I was hoping he was wrong about you. I guess he wasn't. You spoke to Jacob?
Professionals need to perform under pressure. And pressure can cause anyone to do it.
Sure it does. Right now, buy a 3G smartphone and get a second one free, like the Droid. Only from Verizon.
You're right. These healthy choice fresh mixer thingies, they taste fresh.
Say it again.
They taste fresh.
Makes it fresh. Healthy Choice Fresh Mixers. Look for it in the pasta or soup aisle.
There's just so going on in my world, though.
Save money, live better. Walmart.
What do you want?
You're pretty good with computers, aren't you?
Something tells me we need to be standing here if you didn't already know that I was.
It's time to go. No, not yet.
He's over here to create dynamite, and he said he wanted to kill himself.
I can't tell me it's no time to get out.
Jack, please tell me you're not actually considering this.
He wants to die. There's nothing we're going to do to stop him.
And I'll more than likely have to go back and do a little bit more sanding, but I'll wait until I take them to the buffer to see where those scratches are. I already noticed that there's probably some scratches on a couple spots around here. Around the edges there's still a few scratches that I must have missed. So what I am going to do right now though is I have some unbleached cow bone here, and you notice that I've already taken a piece that, you know, they originally look kind of like this. I cut one in half, and then I've taken this to a belt sander and flattened out this one particular section of the bone, and this is what I use for spacers or wedges. And so I'm going to take the blade, and I also just have a small screw here, so I know exactly where the blade will end up sitting. And you can see that I have plenty of room here for a wedge. And so what I'll do is I will mark out approximately how far I want the spacer to go into the scale there. I've traced my wedge shape and I've marked the pinhole. So my next step here will be to rough it out on a bandsaw and then drill my hole using a drill press, and then finally I will take it to a belt sander to begin shaping. You'll notice that I left a lot of extra material around the edges here, and that's intentional because later on that will be sanded down to perfectly flush with the scales. So you can see that this piece of bone is pretty thick. It's more than 1/8 of an inch thick, and it's going to have to become a lot thinner before I'll even start to fit it. And so my next step is to use a 6-inch disc sander here, and I'll take the piece of bone and I'll press it against there, and I'll begin to form the wedge shape. When it gets to the point where it's too thin for me to hold, I'll switch over to using a piece of double-sided tape against my thumb and the wedge, and then I'll use that to hold it on there while I sand it down a little bit more. Again, I'm concentrating pressure on the one end here so that I end up with a wedge shape. So we're going to see how this fits here when we do a test fitting here in a second.